Hey, Ellie,
Hi.
the representative of the class. Oh, there's more. Quincy. Quincy. All right, guys. Got it all. Oh. So, well, Jenna asked, and I guess Emma used it too, to do a extra review. So let's do it. I'll put on a share screen here. Okay. This is where we left off. All right. Here, give me 1 second. I'm going to grab a water real quick. All right, guys. So how do people feel about this? What was this problem? I don't remember. 30 something. I was a little. There's just a lot of writing here, so it takes me a minute to kind of acclimate to the particular problem. But how do people feel about the start on it? We could continue and finish that. You can roll your eyes, but if you do it like verbally, it's better. That way I can like hear it. Questions? But should we continue on it or should we just do something else? Do people want something else?
Yeah, can we go to number 4?
Number 4? Sure. I can start, then I can return to it if people have more questions. You said 4, right, Emma?
Yeah.
Okay. So, right section. Yeah. This one is we got Mark, Tim, Maya, and Kelly. They're dividing among themselves a set of common assets equally owned by the 4 of them. Assets are divided into 4 shares. They've got a table, 3, 15. So I'll repeat, I'll reproduce here. It's not too bad. So let me reproduce that. Mark, Tim, Maya. I'm misspelling Maya. Maya and Kelly. And I'm going to leave off the percentage in the interest of going quickly. So these are the shares 1, 2, and 3, and 4. 25. Okay, so Tim is equal worth here. Maya 15, 15, 30, 40, and 24, 26. 24, 26. Okay, so there's a table, and And then they have several questions. Most, okay, so A through D are just which shares are fair shares to the varying people. And then the last one is, so let's do it. Let's just go down the line. So I'll just use green or something for this. So for Mark, what are fair shares for Mark? Anyone can answer. You guys are all bright, shining stars and so forth.
20 and 20. I don't know. They're just both 20. So
Oh, for you mean, well, okay, but so are those fair shares? What's a fair share in the setup? Fair share. So let's say, okay, I mean, let's say you have $100 and you're dividing that up and you've got 4 people. Is $20 a fair share to you? No, because you're not getting, you should think you should get a quarter of it, and that's $25. So fair share should be $25 or above. If someone wants to be like, I really like that particular $20 bill, that's all I want, that's fine with them. You'll take the rest. Like, fair shares are subjective. They're how people value things. But the point is that you've worked that into the percentage here. So you want 25 or above for a fair share once you've broken down the shares into terms of percentages. So I kind of mixed a little bit there with the dollar amounts and then say 20 is fine. But the point is once you break it down by percentage, you want a fair share is going to be a quarter or more, 25% or more. So in this case, the 2 shares that are going to be fair for Mark are these 2, because they're greater than or equal to 25. So by that logic, what about Tim?
all of them.
All of them. They're all fair for Tim. Tim is getting along with everybody. He's a don't rock the boat kind of guy. What about Maya?
The last 2.
The last 2. And then what about Kelly?
2 and 4.
2 and 4. Great. Right. So these are the fair shares, and you can write them down as like, if you're writing the answers, I don't know if you want to circle. I mean, I'll understand if you circle it, but it's probably better you write it down as like, S2, S3 for Mark and so on and so forth. Make sense? Okay. And then the last question is find all possible fair divisions of the assets. And using only these shares. So you can't divide these shares anymore. Okay. So let's look at, we'll write that down. So this is part E. So for part E, there's one way you can kind of get started right away. What do you guys think?
Well, Tim, all of his are fair, so it doesn't really matter with him. So I'm not quite sure what to do with that information, but
Well, one thing to notice in this particular case is that there are 4 shares and there are 4 people. Right? I know I'm speaking deep things here, but trying anyway. 4 shares, 4 people, which means that, if you're going to divide things up and you can't subdivide these shares, 1 share is going to have to go to 1 person. Each person is going to have to get exactly 1 of the shares. You want a fair division, which means that every person, the share they receive, they should regard it as a fair share. So by that information, what can we say right away? We can say one thing right away. This is not like a dramatic pause. I'm hoping for someone to like, chime in here. Any thoughts?
I don't know, maybe that Tim will be happy no matter what with his, because he all has a fair share, perhaps.
So let's talk about Tim. Let's talk about Tim. Tim is happy no matter what. I agree with you, Joseph. That's right. That's good. So, but is everybody else going to be happy no matter what? No, those other guys, very picky people. They only like 2. So the point is what would all of them be unhappy about except Tim?
Only having 2 to pick from.
Well, what if, okay, if we randomly gave shares to the varying people, could we screw up with everybody? I mean, like for Mark, what if we gave Mark the 4th share? Would he be happy? No, that's not a fair share. What else could we give Mark that would make him unhappy?
The first share.
The first share. Let's look at that first share. That first share is pretty lonely. Nobody likes share 1, except good old Tim. Tim's a sweetheart. He'll take what he's given. He'll take what he's given, right? He'll take what he's given, and no one else will take 1. So where's share 1 going?
Tim.
Tim. If we want a fair division, there's only one that'll take that first share, and it's Tim. So we've already started. So what I can do here is just say, okay, I've already given out share 1, and Tim, we don't have to worry about him anymore. He got share 1. So now my mind is focused, really on this part of the table. I don't think about the rest. I've dealt with that. Tim walked away, he was happy, or I don't know, maybe says he's happy.
So
Okay,
Mark,
we got 3 more shares.
So Mark would probably want, well, I don't know, because Kelly is equal for S2 and S4.
Okay,
Oh, no, that wouldn't matter. Okay, so Mark would get S2.
okay, so let's follow Emma's logic. So let's say Mark gets S2. I'll write it down. Mark S2. And if Mark gets S2, then we're in the following situation. I'm gonna continue this. I'm gonna get rid of those 2 things. Mark's no longer involved and S2 is no longer involved. So now what about Maya and Kelly? Do we have we determined anything? Oops.
Well, Maya probably wouldn't be happy because her 30 would be getting the share instead of her 40.
Okay.
Because Kelly would have to take the 26.
Okay, let's say it in terms of shares rather than how they're valuing it. I mean, we can explain it in terms of their value. But okay, which share would Kelly be unhappy with at this point? There's only 2 shares left, the 3rd and the 4th.
24.
S3.
Right, the 3rd share, right? The 3rd share. So we can't give the 3rd share to Kelly, and that leaves it going to Maya. And if it goes to Maya, then the only share left is the 4th share, and that's going to Kelly. But you actually made a choice, Emma, with this one. You had made the choice here to give Mark this 2nd share. We could have chosen the 3rd share instead. So let's see what happens if we did that. So there's another possibility here. Tim's getting share 1. He's gone. That's not a question, but we could have tried giving Mark share 3. If we had done that, we can get rid of share 3 and get rid of Mark. And now we have shares 2 and 4. Can we determine where one of them has to go?
Then Kelly would get S2 and Maya would get S4.
Yeah. Yeah, because S2 can't go to Maya because Maya doesn't value, it's not a fair share for her. So it has to go to, okay, great. And that's it. Once we had determined which one of the two that Mark was going to get went to him, the rest was determined in order to be a fair division. So these are the only two possibilities. These are the two fair divisions. Okay, makes sense? So the trick of something like a problem like this is really just to start by sort of distributing what has to be distributed, where you don't have a choice. Deal with that first. And then when you have choices, kind of take it one at a time. Let's see what happens. All right. What else?
Go to 14.
14. Other people, if you have strong opinions, you should just talk over Emma. She'll be cooperative, I'm sure.
I'll shut up eventually.
All right, 14. Marla and 5 other friends jointly buy the chocolate strawberry vanilla cake shown in this Gizo Pete. Sorry, guys. Shown in this figure. Okay, there's some chocolate. There's like a cake. They bought it for $30 and plan to divide the cake fairly among themselves. After much discussion, the cake is divided into 6 equal sized slices. Okay, fine. Suppose Marla values vanilla cake. Okay, so this is where we're getting into non-pictures. So Marla values vanilla cake twice as much as chocolate cake. Okay. And chocolate 3 times as much as strawberry cake. Okay, so now, okay, so let me just say, okay, so I can just do the following thing. The division is sort of like this. Sort of into 6. And then there's like one slice. You have the books, I think, but there's one slice that's all chocolate, one slice that's all strawberry, and one that's all vanilla. And then there's like, this half slices that are sort of half and half. Like this kind of a thing. Okay. So this is like chocolate, strawberry, chocolate, vanilla, vanilla, strawberry. Okay, so the slices are enumerated S1. They're enumerated clockwise, like a crazy person would enumerate it. It's awful. Never do anything clockwise. It's the worst. Okay. So this is the setup. Now, find the dollar value to Marla. So they spent $30 on the whole thing. And it says find the dollar value to Marla of each of the slices, S1 through S6. These are like ratio questions. This is like apparently what they're all about. So what do you think, guys? How do we do it?
Well, vanilla would have to be a higher value than chocolate, and chocolate would have to be higher than strawberry. And
Okay, so let's get a base. I mean, the way I think about doing this stuff is really just to start writing down simple. I want to turn these sentences into equations. That's just my instinct to try to do that. So I see chocolate is 3 times strawberry, and I think this. Right. And then when I say vanilla is twice as much as chocolate, I think this. And then I can kind of, so the next instinct I generally have is to try to eliminate variables. Right. I just don't care for them. So I mean, if I can get rid of as many variables as I can, I'm happy. So I use those equations to do that. So I can use this equation and put in for C 3 times strawberry, and I'll get 6 times. So now everything is in terms of strawberry. I've got strawberry, I've got chocolates valued at 3 times strawberry, and vanilla is valued at 6 times strawberry. So is it clear? So now everything's a strawberry. The whole world's filled with strawberries. So now all I have to do is I have to say, okay, this is the value. This is the value of strawberry. Okay, for me. All right, so now what I know is this cake is 1/3 strawberry, 1/3 vanilla, and 1/3 chocolate, right? So the cake, which is valued at $30, is equal to 1/3 strawberry. I mean, we could do it that way. Okay, it doesn't really, it's all ratios, so let's just do it this way. 1/3 strawberry plus 1/3 chocolate. This I'm basically, my S is how much a single strawberry cake would cost to who is this? Mark. Or how much a single vanilla cake, or how much a single, so C represents, so what I'm saying is this variable represents the cost of a single strawberry cake. This is a single chocolate cake. This is to Mark, and this is a single vanilla cake. Okay. Okay, but now I've got everything in terms of strawberries. Strawberry cakes. 1/3 times 3 strawberry plus 1/3 times 6 strawberry. So 3 1/3, 10/3. It might be better just to, the 1/3 is a little artificial, to be honest, but should I take it off or should I leave it? So, I mean, I could take, as I said, this is how much a single cake, a strawberry cake is worth. I could have made it like the slice. Maybe I should just make it the slice rather than, so let me do that, because then I can just not have the fractions. There's no point. Okay. So if I did, so now all I did, I know I took this fraction out. I'm just changing what the meaning of S, C, and V are. Instead of being the cost of an entire cake of that type, it's the cost of 1/3 of a cake of that type. That's all. Sorry, I didn't know how they wanted to do it. So it doesn't look like that fraction's going to help us. All right. So here I get 10S equals 30. So S is equal to 3. $3. So this portion here of the cake is just $3. And this portion, chocolate is worth $9, this portion. And then the portion here is worth $18, 6 times 3. The vanilla portion by these equations. But that's not going to give me the share, because that's not answering really the question. It's just information. So the question is to find the dollar amount of each of the slices. Okay. So let's do it. Slice 1, slice 2, slice 3, slice 4, slice 5, slice 6. Okay, so slice 1, what do you think? You guys tell me.
Would it be 6 for slice 1?
I don't think so. Why did you say 6?
Well, I just did 18 divided by 3 because there's 3 vanilla slices and vanilla was 18, like that
Okay.
portion.
Okay, so
that's-
right. So I think the problem is maybe my drawing may not be perfectly to scale here, so it's kind of throwing you off. So maybe the book will be easier to see. So these are I'm supposed to be cutting this in half each time. So each of these slices is a 1/6. But then this is, I'm cutting a single slice in half. I'm not cutting it, but half of it's vanilla and half of it's. So the point I'm trying to make is that here, oops, this whole bit here, the vanilla slice, you're right, it's divided into 3 pieces, but they're not equally sized. This is half of that vanilla, and then the other half are these 2 bits.
Oh, so then slice 1 would be $9 then.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. Did everyone understand that? Questions about that? Yeah, I mean, the drawing's not really perfect here. This is a little smaller than it should be. All right. Okay. Okay, so S2, where's S2? Okay, so S2 is then going to be, so one way of thinking about this is that each one of these is a 1/4 of the vanilla. Okay, so if we want, we can say the following. I mean, if we want to write it in terms of equations, we can say this is 1/4 of the vanilla plus 1/4 of the strawberry. Now, the strawberry is 3, the chocolate is 9. 3 times 3 is 9. And the vanilla is 18. And so using that, we should be able to get somewhere. 1/4 of 18 and plus 1/4 of 3 is 1/4 of 21, which would be, well, you guys tell me, what's 1/4 of 21? Come on. If you have $21, then you have to split it evenly 4 ways. You know, $5.25, right? Okay, good. Now S3 is just a half. It's a half of the strawberries. This is going to be 150. Half of 3. S4 is gonna, well, okay, so at this point, people should be able to tell me what to write. I shouldn't just tell you what the answers are. You should tell me what to write. Someone should. Come on, guys, be brave, be bold. S4. Ellie? Chandler? Anybody?
Why is S3 half of strawberry?
So, okay, so each of these, so forget about the dotted lines for a second, okay? These dotted lines, forget about those. They're not actual cuts. They're just indicating where the flavors are changing, okay? So the point is that each of these slices, they're the same size. They're 1/6 each. So I take this slice and I'm cutting it in half to get this much as strawberry. So if I got this one in half, I've got the same amount as these two halves, right? So this part is equal to these two, and their sum is all of S. So it's a half of S. This one slice is a half of S. The other half is this. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes more sense.
So would S4 then be 3? Because I have 0.75 from
Let's
strawberry.
write. Okay, so good. So let's write out. Tell me the process so that I can. I don't know. So you said 0.75 from strawberry. So you took 1/4 of strawberry, and then you
Yes.
added what?
Then I divided the 9 by 2 because there's one big slice and then there's 2 individuals that would make ultimately another big slice. So I just put 9 divided by 2 because there's 2 big slices. That gives me 4.5. Divide that by 2 because there's 2 smaller slices. That gives me 2.25. 25 plus 7.5 equals 3.
Okay, let me do everything in one step there though, and just say 1/4, because you divided, you took this whole thing and you said, okay, well, this is a half. And then you said, this part is a half of that half, but a half of a half is a 1/4. So let's just do a 1/4 from the get-go and just say 1/4 of chocolate. And so then you're right. So what is a 1/4 of 9? That's 2.25, right? $2.25. So here we'll get 75 cents plus 2.25, and that looks like it's going to be 3. Good. Okay, S5 is just a half of chocolate. So that should be just 450. Half of 9 is 450. And then finally I get a 1/4 of chocolate plus a 1/4 of vanilla, which is going to be 9 plus 18 over 4. So that's 27 over 4. Sorry, just so something and a quarter. What it's, wait, no, 75 cents. Sorry. So $8.75. 8.75.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So now what to do at the end of this process, this arduous process, is so this is fine if you want to leave it, but it's always a good idea in my view to just double check and just add things up, right? So if I add things up, I have 9 plus 3 is 12. And then I can add these two up. That's 6. So 12 plus 6 is 18. And then I can add these two up. And I get 14. No, I don't get 14. Oh, I do get 14. Uh-oh. I think we might have done something wrong here.
I think it's the last one. I think it should be 675,
Yeah,
or maybe I could be.
I think you're right. I divided by 3 instead of 4. Yes, 675. Thank you. Good. So this reinforces what I was saying, hopefully, is that yes, good. That's right. No, is it? Yes, it is right. Good. Is that it is really good to check, especially if you're doing some silly arithmetic mistakes. So here you have 12. 12 plus 6 is 18. And now you have 6.75 plus 5.25, and that will be 12. And so 12 plus 18 is 30, and you recover the full amount. So thank you, Joseph, for that point. Yeah. I always do that when I'm teaching, and when I was a student, I did that too. And even like now, if I'm doing research, I try to like look over and just do consistency checks, because it's easy when you've got a lot of computations to make a single mistake and have everything kind of be off. Okay. That was okay, but there's a part B to this particular question. Which of the slices S1 through S6 are fair shares? Okay, so that shouldn't be too hard. What's going to constitute a fair share here? Like how much should a pie be worth to be a fair share? At least a pie slice. For that was a question. I wasn't like, what do you guys think?
I'm gonna say the Soul Vanilla share. She should be happy with, because she likes vanilla more than anything else in the world.
Okay, so one suggestion is the Soul Vanilla share. Which one is that? That's S6. I agree. Any others?
Chandler in the chat said S2.
That's 2. Where's the, I'm a little lost here. Where's the Soul Vanilla share? Oh, I missed it. That was S1. I missed it because I was looking for the V and I didn't see it. So, all right, okay. I circled the other one that was also, okay. Basically, for Mark, if it's got vanilla, it's fair. It seems to be the case. Now, why, okay, but why not 1/2 chocolate? Why not the 5th share? So how many friends are there altogether, including Mark? How many people are dividing this up?
6 people.
6 people, right? So how much should the value of a slice be? If the total value is 30, to be fair, how much should a single slice be?
The average between all of them should be 5. If you, yeah.
Okay, so 5 is the right answer.
In a perfect world.
Well, I don't even, so this isn't really about perfection. This is about saying, what's the minimum? So no one's like Mark. I mean, no one likes vanilla that much. It's absurd. And so like, you wouldn't do that. People have their own tastes. Some people like chocolate a lot. Some people like strawberry a lot. So these ratios are just Mark's ratios. The point is that the fair share, once you do this exercise with each person, their fair share should be greater than or equal to 5. It can be more than 5. A perfect world, maybe it's, 10. Maybe each person really likes their own slice a lot more than the others, right? So the value is individual. So the minimum value should be 5, and here we go below 5, and so the 5th slice is definitely not going to be fair. So the only fair slices here, or the slices which give a fair share, are going to be the 1st, 2nd, and the 6th. For that reason. Okay. What else? There's a chat thing here. Oh, Chandler's chatting and saying things. Yeah, so Chandler said exactly what was correct, which is anything over 5. Good. Sorry, I didn't see that in the chat. Chat's up. Good. That's no problem. Okay. All right. What else? Are we all good? Should we do more problems? Do people understand this fair share concept? I mean, it is a little tricky because it's very subjective. Like all of these values are per player, per person that you're dividing the assets with. So they decide what the values are. So fair share is unique to that person. A fair share for one person may not be fair to the other. It's all dependent on how they value things. But there will be a common percentage that you want to get above for all of them. Right. Okay. No one has any more problems?
Could you do 58?
I can try. Holy cool. Okay. Queenie. All right. Yeah, I'll try. I mean, I remember when I was making the homework assignment, I was looking over all the problems. I didn't pick ones that I thought were like super long, but they all looked kind of long. So I don't know. I'm sorry. I apologize profusely and sincerely and otherwise.
It's okay. You just can remove it and we can, be free. You can be like removal of 58. That's fine and dandy by me, if it's fine and dandy by you.
It's not fine and dandy. We got a job to do. We got to do it. Freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose, is what they say. Right? This is appropriate to this particular question, although I don't see Janis Joplin here anywhere. Okay, so they said they're dividing a set of 15 CDs. 3 people, 15 CDs. I don't know what those are. But they're divided as follows: 3 Beach Boys. Yikes. 6. This is God. Who is this person that wrote this book? Grateful Dead. CDs, and then 6 opera CDs. Okay. These people are very strange. Okay. Holy moly. So then there's a lot of words, and I think you guys have books, so I don't want to write everything out again. I'll just say what it says, and maybe you'll see. Maybe you can make a little chart here. Um, okay, so let me make a little chart. I think that I can do that. So we'll do a love-hate chart. Love, hate. Okay, so they say Queenie loves Beach Boys, but hates the Grateful Dead and opera. Roxy loves the Grateful Dead and the Beach Boys, and hates opera, but equally well, but hates opera. Sophie loves the Grateful Dead and opera equally well, but hates the Beach Boys. I don't know. I don't have any words. I don't know. Okay. So there's no. So now we're using a method of markers, and there's this sort of the thing that I think I find most objectionable about this method is precisely what I have to do right now, which is you have to kind of line everything up you have to order your set of assets, and that's very arbitrary. And in a sense, as we've seen, like the number of permutations possible is enormous. So it's kind of like, it's a little bit silly to sort of, I mean, this order may determine the outcome of this division significantly. So something that's dependent on that many variables or that many possibilities is, I find, a little bit disconcerting. I don't know, as a method. But I guess if it's random enough, maybe it's okay. I don't know. You'd have to kind of probably write a dissertation or something on it. Okay. Okay, so now describe the plate. So I like these. I got these markers, not like actual markers, but these things. I kind of like these guys I made. So let me bring them down. I think we're going to place some markers. So I guess I have who? Queen. I have Q, R, and S. So let's start. Okay. Okay, so they want Queen Q. I'm just gonna write Q. I don't care. All right, so they want, the first part A is to place markers. Okay, so let's start with Queenie. What do you guys think? I mean, I think they're trying to get you to say something, but I want you to tell me what you think. So it's left to right. Was I there? Was I alone today at in lecture when I was talking about this? Was it all just like a blur and a haze of nonsense per the usual experience? So what is the method of markers? The idea is, okay, Queenie is given 2 markers, and Queenie's going to put those markers at the place that divides these assets into equal shares. So if I'm starting from the left, I keep on going until I hit a place where I say, okay, that's an equal share of the assets. I'm going to put a marker right there. Then I keep on going, and I say, okay, now that next interval is going to give me the next equal share of assets to me as Queenie, if I'm Queenie. So there's going to be 2 markers for each, for Queenie, and then also for Roxy and Sophie.
It didn't make sense in class and it's not making sense now.
Okay. So tell me about Queenie and her musical tastes. She
She only,
loves,
she only likes the Beach Boys and doesn't like the other two.
now despite how unrelatable that is, actually it's kind of relatable, except for the love of the Beach Boys. And the hatred of opera. Opera's not bad, come on. I think that the person writing this problem says that if you hate something, you value it at 0. I personally find that ridiculous. There's a lot of things I hate that I can sell and get money for. I wouldn't value them at 0. But nonetheless, I think the idea is that Queenie thinks Grateful Dead and opera is worthless. So because there's hatred there. Hatred's a strong emotion. So this stuff to Queenie is not really valuable. Over here too, all of this is not valuable. So if Queenie is dividing the assets and all of the stuff in red is not valuable to Queenie, how would Queenie divide these up fairly?
And before and after each Beach Boy.
Yeah.
Not the middle one, but the first and last.
After, yeah, before and after the middle one, I would say. Right? Queenie is going to put these 2 markers in. What do those markers mean again? They mean everything before the marker, first marker, is a fair share to Queenie. Everything between after the first and before the second marker is a fair share to Queenie. And everything after the last marker is a fair share to Queenie. Those markers say how to divide the assets up. Does it make sense now, Emma? Okay. So that's a fair division for Queenie, and those are her markers. Good job, Queenie. Okay, moving on to an even less sensible person, Roxy. Roxy's really the worst. Okay. Roxy likes the Grateful Dead and the Beach Boys and doesn't like opera. Which means, I think that these are just worthless to Roxy. Leaving a grand total of 12 CDs. And it does say that she values these the same. And I mean, she says she loves them equally. Oh, I'm sorry, my bad. I messed up. Roxy doesn't like opera. So these are all values. So there's only 9 that Roxy loves.
Would it go in between the first Grateful Dead and the second Grateful Dead and then the last Grateful Dead? I don't know. I wish I could like point.
So if I can move it around. So
Yeah,
tell
right
me what to stop here.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the question though. So I think that I kind of screwed up because I think I misread this, and so oops. In my description, I screwed up what I was saying. So hopefully I tried to fix it. So now if this were Roxy, that would say that Roxy thinks that's a fair share. So I misread it first. Roxy doesn't like opera. So this is worthless to Roxy. So the only thing Roxy's getting out of that is the Grateful Dead. And there's a lot of Grateful Dead and Beach Boys. So I don't think that's quite fair from her viewpoint, right? So where would be, she wants to divide this portion up equally into 3 parts. How can she do that? Where would she put her marker if that's the case? Allie? You're quiet, man. What's going on?
See, I really don't understand because like I assume that like Roxy would want like Grateful Dead until like maybe like one of the Beach Boys. But then like if we do that in like one section, then we're cutting off some of the operas at the start of it, which would give us 4 groups, which would then like that kind of like makes me
I like,
confused.
no, I like your suggestion. So if Roxy puts it right here, then this is her first fair share. And how many CDs does she have now that she loves? She has 3. These are worthless. These are worthless. The total number of CDs is 9. She wants to split 9 up into 3 equal shares. 9 divided by 3 is 3. So there you go. But then where's the next marker going to go for Roxy? Where's the next equal share for Roxy? Should be here. Should I put it here? No, because that would just be 1 CD. I want to get 3 more CDs. The next interval should have 3 CDs. That's either Beach Boys or Grateful Dead, right? This is 1 CD of Beach Boys, 1 CD of Beach Boys. That's altogether 3. So if I put the marker here, that next interval are these 3 CDs for Roxy. And then the last interval, you don't have to do anything, but it's going to have 3 Grateful Deads, and these things don't matter to her. If you use those 2 markers, you're getting 3. She likes 9 CDs total, loves them. And she's dividing those 9 into 3 equal groups of 3 CDs. Okay. Last one up is Sophie. Sophie. All right, so Sophie at least likes opera. So Sophie has some degree of reasonableness in her, but she doesn't like the Beach Boys, which is also reasonable. So how many CDs will Sophie like? Well, you guys tell me.
12.
12. So if you're going to take 12 CDs that are liked equally and divide them up into 3 equal groups, how many CDs should be in each group?
3, 4.
4.
Sorry.
12 divided by 3 is 4. So by that rationale, where should I put the first marker?
Would you do one at the end and one at the beginning?
What's the end? Like
As
here?
in like, yeah,
Here?
like at the very first O and the very last O.
Okay. There's like a marker. When you put a marker in, you're dividing. So you're starting at the beginning. You don't have to put a marker there. You're already starting there. It's where you're going to make the first division and say everything to the left of that is in one group. That's the first marker is going to divide your assets. So what's a fair, where should I put that first marker to get 4 CDs? In this picture. After
the last O at the end.
if I put it here,
Yeah, that O, yeah.
so
Because
I need to have 2 markers. So I don't have room for my second marker if I do that. But also that means that you're saying that the entire thing is a fair share for Sophie. Like that's the even split. You want to you're saying, okay, I'm going down, I include this, and then I put a marker here, and then this is the first share. So I'm saying, where's that first place that Sophie will place a marker to divide that first group off of CDs?
After the first GD.
After the first GD. GD. Good. Very good. Right? Because these are 4 CDs of Grateful Dead or opera. So she values these equally, and she gets 4 CDs out of the 12 that she likes. That's a fair share. So where's the next marker that Sophie wants to place?
After the first O on the other side.
After the first O. Here?
Hmm.
Okay, well, let's look. So if Sophie did that, then what you're saying is that she considers this to be a fair share. It goes from Sophie's first marker to her second marker. But how many CDs of Grateful Dead or opera are in that group?
There's 5 Grateful Dead and 1 opera, so no.
So 6. So that's a little too much. So we don't want to put it right there. So where should I put it? Where should Sophie put it? If that was 6, if I move it down 1, how many do I have now in that group? I just got rid of 1, so I have 5. And so now I have 4. And I wanted 4. So here we look at that group, that has 1, 2, 3, 4. So for Sophie, that will be your second marker. How's it feeling, guys?
Very confusing, very never seen before, never done before. Yeah, what Chandler did, that reaction.
Yeah, this method is not hard in the sense that you have to kind of really think about being like 5 years old. Okay, just imagine Skittles being laid out and you and 2 friends are there and you want to say, okay, I'm going to divide it here and I'm going to get this, that's 1 fair share, and I'll divide it here and that's another fair, between those 2 are fair shares. This is like how you would divide Skittles if you were in 1st grade. Like if you were in control, that's where you put your markers. You're dividing up that line of Skittles so that it's fair to you. And maybe you really love red Skittles, maybe you love yellow, I don't know. I don't even know the colors. So I'm just saying, each person has their own way that they might divide that, puts the markers down, and that's all we're doing here. We're trying to discern what that would be given their taste. Okay. That was part A, done. So for part B, I'll finish this up and then we can go back to our fun stuff of life. Describe the allocation of CDs to each player and describe what CDs are left over. Okay, so I assume they're saying use the method of markers here to like actually do this. I think the idea is to use the method of markers here. So yeah. Okay, so the method of markers, what you do is you, as was described in class, is you sort of go until you hit your first marker and you assign that to the first group. So I'm going to copy this whole thing down so that I don't have to mess with it. Okay. So the first division is going to occur at the first marker, and that's right here. And now, and this goes to the person whose marker is first. And if there's a tie, you can just flip a coin. But here, this is going to Sophie. Once you do that, you eliminate Sophie's markers. You just take them off so that you don't get confused. Okay. Now you want to go to the second marker of anyone. So you go to the second marker, the first second marker. So maybe that's why they want you to do Q1. If we followed their advice, we would put a subscript of 1 and 2. So now we want to go to the first second marker. So we've got these two and these two. The first second marker is this Q2 here. Right. So what we do is we go to that and we're going to divide and we're going to take a share there. And that's going to go to whoever's on the second marker there, which is Queenie. This is Queenie. And then we just delete. Oops. Well, okay. At this stage, we don't have to do anything, but okay. And then, okay. So I'd have to look now and see how they do it, because if you're going to go from left to right, you would go to the third marker. If you, I don't remember if they start, if once you're to the n minus first person, that you go from the n to the first marker. So there's two possible ways of doing this. One would just be to consider the algorithm and just take this as the last group. Or sorry, to continue the algorithm and just go here. That would be fine. Or you could just take off this slice. So either one is fine with me in your solution. But let's take off the last. We'll go from for the last step, we'll take the last slice and assign it to Roxy, whoever marker it bounds by. And then we have one left over, and that one can be given to whoever. I mean, everyone has a fair share at this point. And so there's no, this is like a random thing. You can just kind of give it. The purpose is not to give like is not to give a bonus share. You can be biased, after everyone's gotten a fair share. So this is like random extra credit that's sitting around. And you just give to, give to whoever you want.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
So we gave Roxy 6. Would that interfere with part C, where it's like give the extras to like
that wasn't extra though. That wasn't extra. Because that was her fair share. So you could give Roxy, yeah, so this is not extra. This is Roxy's share. This is extra. Does that understand? Yeah. So somehow, yeah, okay, now I'm looking at part C and I am a little confused as to why I see. I kind of screwed up, guys. I kind of screwed up. I actually did screw up. Sorry. My bad. I actually screwed up in the description of what you're supposed to do here. What you're supposed to do is not, I mean, I'm almost I kind of messed up in class too, so I should, let me correct that here. Sorry about this. So the first step in the process is correct, and then I rushed to the second step and did this wrong. So the first step in the process is you go to the first marker and you get off that, you take off that group. Once you do that, though, you do go to the first of the second markers and you find a person that's the first of the second marker, but you don't take everything up to that marker. You don't do that. You go from, you take that person and take that person's second interval. That's what I did wrong. I'm sorry. That was my mistake there. So really, we just want to give that fair share to Queenie. That is the fair share specified between her first and second marker. Okay, and that will give us a bunch of leftovers. And then we do the same thing, but now this is the third fair share. It was only going to Roxy, so this is indeed here. And here you don't have a choice if you do it this way. So I messed up that. You want to take that interval corresponding to that person, not everything up to that person. That would be sort of giving extras. So my bad. I'm sorry. Sorry, guys. Kind of rushed through that. Is it clear now? Is it better now? Okay. So now we have actually the 4 extra CDs, and we can look at those, and we describe the allocation and we describe the leftovers. So this is part B. The leftovers are in green. And so now part C is describe, suppose the players agree that each one gets to pick an extra CD from the leftover CDs. Okay, this is random. Suppose that Queenie picks first, Sophie second, and Roxy third, and then describe which leftover CDs. So it's going Queenie, Sophie, and Roxy. I don't know why. So Sophie, Roxy. Okay. Okay.
Queenie would choose one of the Beach Boy ones.
Yeah, okay. So Queenie, we can expand Queenie's file here. And then Sophie, so I'm going to pick this one. Sorry, I mean, there's no opera, so Sophie will extend there. And then Roxy, doesn't seem to matter really. But okay, so Roxy will pick, say, I guess one of these, and then Queenie will pick that in the spirit of cooperation. Yeah, I'm not sure why. I feel like there's an extra leftover here. I'm not sure why that's the case. But I think we did everything else right, so I'm not sure. So I think we could just describe it this way, would be fine. What do people think? Questions? Method of markers. Fabulous.
I've had enough math for the day.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good. Well, okay. This is like, yeah, okay. All right, cool. All right, guys. Let's resume on Wednesday. I'll try to straighten out. I'll say a few words at the beginning Wednesday to sort of clarify how this method works. I think I messed it up, so I'll do a better job Wednesday. But then, if you could just bring in a few questions for the exam as well, unless you need something for the homework still. But I think we should probably look at the exam, and if people come in with questions, that'll give us something to, well, talk about in a way that's more helpful. All right, great. See you guys then.